Nightwing the New Order number 6, the final issue of Nightwing the New Order. Kyle Higgins writing, Trevor McCarthy on art. So this is the final issue. What did you think of the ending of this?
I felt like we could have had another issue. Everything gets resolved way too fast.
I agree, it felt rushed. I think they were going for this big dramatic moment where basically Dick's son says, "Hey, I wish I could be your Robin." And then he explains what he means by that. Because he's been watching old footage of like Batman and Robin when he was a kid, and he's like, because Robin kind of reminded Batman of optimism. He was the light that reminded of him what he was fighting for and kept him like his mind in the right place. And he feels guilty that he's not doing that for Dick, where Dick can see the hope and Dick can see the world where why we should have superpowers back. And Dick, has this, it's this dramatic close-up in his eyes, and then, like, 2 pages later, he's there to help fight all the villains. I say villains, but you know what I mean, like Batwoman and all her cronies that are there to capture them. And I'm like, okay, that was very quick. I feel like that could have done with some more like build up to that big turn. And then on top of that, there's a whole new idea that's introduced where Lex turns out to be like. So I do like the idea that once Lex is the one who does the tech that gives Superman his powers back. I did like the moment where Lex says, "Oh, now I'm your god." Like that's very Lex Luthor. I like that. Then immediately he sets the place to blow up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing what you want. I'm not going to have inequality. I'm going to give powers to everyone." But he essentially becomes the villain in like a page turn, and I'm like, this is a fine idea, but we've not had enough time with Lex for this to land for me. No. It feels too rushed.
Yep, I agree with everything you just said, and I was enjoying this so much, and I still don't buy the reason that Nightwing turned. Like we got bits and pieces of it, but I would have loved like even just a flashback that established a lot of these things and why he feels so strongly, because I feel like he does feel the world's better off without powers. He feels justified. Like that was what that whole thing with Tim was early on. I would say that was in issue 3, and here for him to turn because his son basically asked him to. I'm just like, oh, this is rough.
I like the idea that what appeals to him is the whole idea of comparing what Robin was for Batman and what he was for him, because he can understand that.
Yeah.
I like that. It just happens far too quick. And I actually agree with him. I complained a little bit in the last issue that it was starting to come back round, where it was really starting to bother me. Like I never really could understand why Dick would have done what I mean, I get that his opinion would change and he would think maybe the world's better without powers, but actually doing the thing he did where he set off this bomb and it killed so many people, I still don't quite buy that. Or Dick Grayson, and this is a Dick Grayson who at the end of the book is redeemed and he's at a school teaching. It's basically Xavier's school for the gifted, but for metas in DC Universe. He's at the school training people and teaching them how to control their powers. And I'm like, this is a nice idea, but you made him do this heinous act in the past. That I don't know. I feel like he needs more comeuppance in this.
I agree, especially like again, if we would have had more issue of him with his doubts, like did I do the right thing? Maybe powers are a good idea. Maybe it's who has the powers, and if we can train them to do the right thing.
I feel like, given what he did in the past, I think he had to die. He had to go out sacrificing himself to like save Superman or something like that. I feel like that's what had to happen. Because
I agree. I agree.
Unfortunately, I think it's. I mean, it's not a terrible issue. Like I don't think it's a terrible ending, but it just feels like the easy ending.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it spoils the rest of the series, because I like a lot of the ideas that it brought up. Considering when it got first announced, I was just like, nah, hard pass. I don't like the idea of a fascist Nightwing. But the story that he told and what it did with his son and how the Titans dealt with it. And plus we got like Barbarian Superman.
Yeah.
Like a lot of cool stuff happened here. And I just kind of bummed that it ended the way it did.
And that's the thing. Like Lex does his whole thing and they have to like, lift up part of the city because the bomb's like this big thing underneath the city. And they deal with the problem. And, Dick's son helps, and that helps with everything. And then, like, they never actually go and get Lex. They never, like, go and arrest them, or even, he kind of feels that Lex just get away with it and is off somewhere.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. I did like Lex, though, when he sort of deploys his robot fleet. It's like someone says, "You've got robots?" He's like, I wouldn't be Lex Luthor if I didn't have robots. So that was a nice moment.
It did make me miss Higgins writing DC, though, because I was a big fan of his Nightwing run, and I kind of missed that. And I know he's having fun doing Power Rangers right now, and that's all he talks about on Twitter, but, I wouldn't mind seeing him back.
Yeah, I mean, I was never completely sold on the concept of this. I thought it was definitely interesting enough. I had a lot of good ideas throughout the series that kept me interested in reading it, but I did have some doubts last issue, and they've kind of been basically solidified in this final one, where I think it was an enjoyable enough read, but it felt a little bit too easy for what it was doing. Like, if you're going to if you're going to sell me Dictator Dick Grayson and tell me that he did this thing, he needs more comeuppance. You need to sell me why he made that choice in the first place, and I don't think the book ever really did that. It took the easy way out in a couple of places, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. The really easy way out.
Yeah. So, and they never really went into like a lot of the ideas, like how Lois ended up with a blue ring.
A Blue Lantern.
Yeah.
I did love that scene though with John, and she's like, "John, come on, you know how this works," and she ends up ramping up his power and using it against him. I thought that was cool. That was the most Lois I think she's been. So.
Yeah, that was cool. I do think the epilogue scene, because we find out that he's been like recording like a book the whole time. For his son to one day like listen to, and then we find out he's got a baby and he's named him Richard after his father. And I thought, okay, this is okay, but it feels like a really generic epilogue. Like, this is the very generic. Oh, in the future, this is the end of Harry Potter. Oh, they've all got kids now.
No, it is, and they're all named after somebody they admire. Yeah, you know, like Harry's got a kid named Albus Severus. Like, could you be more on the nose, man?
Very on the nose.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So not bad, but just a little on the easy side, I think.
Yeah, doesn't really stick the landing it was going for, but that's okay. It was a fun ride while it was going.
Yeah, so a little easy, kind
of like Lost for me in that way. Like, I really enjoyed the ride, but the ending, I'm like, okay, I guess you can see that. But
yeah, the ending wasn't the best part of Lost, clearly, but it doesn't ruin the show for me at all.
No.
Yeah, I like Lost a lot, so I can understand that comparison. But that's Nightwing the New Order, and obviously the art's been consistent all through the issues because it's been the same artist, and it's been generally good, but not great, I would say. Yeah,
I will say too that the cover game was really strong when they looked like more propaganda posters, and now over the last 2 or 3, so the back half just kind of became comic book covers, and that's fine. They still look great, but not the same feel.